I am broadcasting on all AM frequencies. I will be at the South Street Seaport every day at midday, when the sun is highest in the sky. If you are out there, if anyone is out there, I can provide food, I can provide shelter, I can provide security. If there's anybody out there, anybody, please, you are not alone.
Look, okay. I heard stuff.
Stuff?
Yes, we all heard stuff.
Yeah?
Like, how they thought that there were other dimensions, other worlds all around us, and how they wanted to try and make, a window, so they could look through and see what's on the other side.
Well, maybe your window turned out to be a door, didn't it?
Not mine, those scientists!
Oh, the scientists.
Yes, the scientists. They must have ripped a hole open by accident. This other world came spilling through to ours. That's what Donaldson was saying to me right before he killed himself. I didn't understand the half of it. It ain't my fault.
Oh, ain't his fault. No. Ain't nothing ever anybody's fault. But he denies it. He points the finger. This Judas in our midst.
Judas!
You. Don't you know by now? Don't you know the truth? We are being punished for what? For going against the will of God. For going against his forbidden rules of old. Walking on the moon. Yes. Or splitting his atoms. Or stem cells and abortions. And destroying the secrets of life that only God above has any right to. Yes, I know. It is true. And now we are being punished. The judgment is being brought down upon us. The fiends of hell, you see, they are let loose. And Star Wormwood blazes. And it is his fault. Yes,
No,
it is your fault.
no, it is not my fault.
They did it. They spit in the eye of the Almighty.
Hey, what's up everybody? Radex here, the one from 72, the ultra neutral, and today we're going to take a look at the movie The Mist and the dangers, and I cannot express how dangerous it is to mix the aliens and religion as a whole together. Like, you just can't do it, and this movie actually points that out. Like, it shows you in this movie, written by Stephen King. And the irony of this is people who will fall right into the place of the woman who is leading the pack, the one who is pushing this message with no merits at all. The irony is people will watch this movie and they will point fingers at her and say that, oh yeah, and say that these people are stupid and are being misled and are dumb. The irony is that some of the people that will say that are exactly that person, right? They'll fall right into that. It's insane. That's the insanity, right? Like, to sit back and to say that these people that did this to this soldier, these people that were misled and, fell into this trap of saying that the aliens are demons, it's the same people. The same people will sit there and applaud when she gets blown away at the end. But really, if they were in that store in that situation, they would be those people backing her, or they would be her. There is no mistake the reason why Stephen King used a middle-aged white woman for this character. There's no mistake in it. Her voice, her look, everything is I love it's an art piece. It's an important message for people to see, because right now we're very close to going through exactly what happened in that movie. In fact, it's preemptive programming a lot in that movie if you really look at it. In that very first scene that I show you, you see there that she talks about walking on the moon. Last time they walked on the moon was 1972. They're talking about CERN, obviously, opening portals and stuff. They're talking about CERN. In 1972, CERN, and you can look this up through the CERN documents. In the year 1972, they had a 1,000 times spike in power out of nowhere, and they don't know where it came from. All of a sudden, it was like the CERN machine that was not in Switzerland and France. It was here in America, just so you know. I actually think it was actually in Chicago. So most of you who think that CERN has always been over there, that's not true. 1972 made it possible for the land contract between Switzerland and France to go through because of the year 1972. If you read CERN's documents, which I've read a lot of their documents, if you go and you read their documents, you will see that before the year 1972, they kept trying to get the land contract to go through so they can build the Large Hadron Collider, which is in number 8, by the way. Most people don't even know that, which 8 is what? Infinity. So that's a lot what this movie is about. It's about pretty much CERN. It's about these aliens coming out of this portal from CERN. Pretty much is what it's about, okay? And a big part of it is about the most disgusting parts of humanity when faced with uncertainty and faced with the challenge of their dominance on this planet. The other message that's here is when people are constantly saying, we want full disclosure, just tell us everything that you know, and why aren't the aliens coming to us? Well, this movie tells you right then and there. Because just because there's a few people out there, or there's some people, or a majority of people that are going to be accepted and say, okay, yeah, it's, look, there's a universe, there's planets, there's aliens that are coming from there, and they're here, doesn't mean that there's not going to be a lot of disruptions and problems from people like this woman, right? Like, who are just literally going to go into complete hysteria. And that's really what it comes down to. It's not logical thinking, it's straight hysteria, because they're afraid. And when they're afraid, they fall back to their most basics, right? And their most basic for this lady is that go back to, there has to be this being, this omnipotent God that can save us all. You see that because the people in the store in the beginning, they literally treat her like she's a religious nut. They kind of like, you can tell people are not comfortable with her, right? But then as movie goes on and the monsters become real, these aliens, and it becomes apparent that the people are completely scared shitless, that they turn to their basics, and their basics is go to her because she's offering them, a voice that she believes is coming from a higher being. And because of that, you see the most disgusting part of humanity in this movie. Like I said, the people will point the fingers at her and say, yeah, she's, crazy. But those same people who are watching the movie pointing the fingers at her, there's a lot of people who would be her in this situation. And there's people doing it right now, right? Like, they're literally on YouTube trying to say that the aliens are demons. I was a fundamentalist Christian for a very long time. If you go by the standards and model of the Bible, really we're on, and you could debate all day long all you want. I don't care. I'm going to tell you. The standards of the model, and the reason why we know this is because of the story of Nimrod, right? Nimrod was building a tower, the Tower of Babel. They were trying to build it up to get to heaven. If there was no threat of something to be built to get to a place called heaven, which is in the sky, then there would be no reason to tear it down. That's like if I make a video game and I make little AI characters on the game, which I can keystroke out at any time. I can just say, delete, you're gone. The characters in the game, I give them like their own like little, like kind of like the little AI. And they decide in the game that they're going to try to build a device or try to build a tower or something to come out of the screen to come out here where I am in this physical world. Am I going to be like, okay, I need to destroy that little tower there? No, because they'll never get from the screen in the video game to where I am here. Those characters will just not, it's just not possible. So in the story, it says that he had to tear the tower down because there was a threat that they could make it to heaven, obviously, and had to confuse the 72 languages. By the way, one language becomes 72 languages, 172, and had to make them all confused with 72 languages. Well, then, obviously, it tells you right then and there that in that model that there is a firmament, and above us is heaven, and below us is hell, right? So, you can't have that model and have the model of, well, we're in a universe with a bunch of galaxies and a bunch of planets. Possible there is advanced alien life forms out there. You can't have both. You can either have one or the other. If you fall into the doctrine, you have to look at it in that respects. That's what happens in this movie without any evidence. The fact is that the movie is also based off of superstition, right? Like that's all superstition. Well, funny because the most notable song in the world about superstition, Stevie Wonder's 1972 Superstition. It's like this movie is kind of like pre-programming you and telling you what's coming, right? Like, because when beings start coming here and then when the veil lifts, and I've been saying this many times, when the veil lifts, the moon turns 180 degrees and you see the other side. I don't care what they're showing you. But when the moon turns 180 degrees, which will blow a bunch of people's minds because you've never seen the other side of the moon, but get ready for it. When the veil lifts and all these beings start popping up out everywhere, because once that turns 180 degrees, I believe just like that, it's a possibility. You will see ships everywhere. You'll see beings all over the place. You will realize that they are just walking among you. And people who look like regular people will all of a sudden the veil will drop for them. Because at that point, it's already too late. There's nothing you can do about it. So it just all switches. However, there is something that people like her will try to do about it. They will say these are all demons, and they will turn on their own humans. In other words, humans who are saying, no, these are not demons. These are just aliens. The people, be careful, because if you are the person who's trying to be the rational voice, because you see what happens to the guy who tries to protect the soldier, right? Like, they turn on him, and they're going to go kill him, because he doesn't fall into the insanity that's going on, the disgusting insanity that's going on of humanity turning on itself through a doctrine, right? And because of that, he becomes now their enemy. Like people will say, the enemy of God is my enemies too. Well, that's exactly what extremists say. They use that before they behead people. They say that exact same thing. Have you heard somebody say that? Well, guess what? That happens when the most heinous atrocities happen to other humans because they don't fall into whatever doctrine or whatever religion that they're enforcing.
His fault, yes,
No,
it is your
no, it is not my fault.
They did it. They spit in the eye of the Almighty.
No! Get over there! No! Judas!
The beast will leave us alone tonight. Tomorrow we'll just have to wait and see.
So you have to look inward and really take a real hard look at what you're saying and what you're thinking and what you're doing, because this movie definitely points a lot of that out. It definitely shows that. And you can also see, like, because she starts getting enough followers, enough people to listen to her message and go along with her, it empowers her. In her, in her mind, that she has this direct connection with God to help his flock, to save them. So you see what happens when she ends up getting empowered by people who are surrounding her and who are listening to her and who are thinking that she obviously is the one that's going to save them through, the scriptures and all this and stuff. And you see that power becomes intoxicating. And people will say, well, that'll never happen to me because I'm speaking as a humble servant to God. Okay, that's exactly what she thought too. And this shows you and exposes that. It's a perfect movie. If you have not watched the movie The Mist, I encourage you to watch it twice. Don't watch it once. Watch it 2 times. Watch it, go away from it, think about it, go back and watch it again later on, a day or 2 later, and rewatch it one more time. So that way you can let it sink in and you can understand the message of what the movie says. It's crazy. And they definitely bring up a lot of 1972 stuff in the movie. In fact, they bring up, she says, about abortion. 1972 was the last year it was illegal to have an abortion in America. In 1972, the last people on the moon was Jack Smith and Gene Cernan. Apollo 17 with 2 men, where 2 men walked on the moon. That's 172. So when I keep telling you about the 172, it's all over the place. Watch the movie, learn from it. You cannot have it both ways. It's either one or the other. And the one, for sure, without a doubt, is going to eventually go away. It's eventually going to be gone. And once the veil lifts, everything is completely revealed. Those people, it doesn't matter how many of them that there are, you have to be careful for them. The aliens don't have to be careful for them. They obviously have manipulations of controlling time, so they could just reset this shit and try to do it all over again, which is what I think probably has happened. That's the reason why 1972 is such a stable point. They don't have to worry about those people, but you as a human, as a fellow human to your other human beings, you will be that guy who's trying to protect that soldier or whatever, trying to stop the insanity or get away from the insanity, because they literally just want to leave and get away, but they actually get blocked. Like she, uses her power, of influence over the people to try to stop them from leaving. And when that becomes apparent and that becomes a point, it gets to she has to be killed. They literally have to kill her to shut her up so that these people can literally go about their own way, right?
Going out now, Mrs. Carmody. Please stand aside.
You can't go out. I won't allow it.
Won't allow it?
It's against God's will. Don't you know that by now? Haven't I proven myself again and again and again? Haven't I shown that I am his vessel? What's the matter with you? Don't you believe in God?
No one's interfered with you. All we're asking for is the same privilege.
You heard him. It is these people who brought this upon us. They, people who refuse to bend to the will of God and claim it privilege. Sinners and pride. Yes, haughty, privileged. They mock us, they mock our God, our faith, our values, our very lifestyle. They mock our humility and our piousness. They piss on us and laugh. It's from them. The blood of human sacrifice must come. From them, the blood of expiation.
You try it. Fucking try it!
Come on.
I killed her.
And then, so here's what you don't see in the movie. At the end of the movie, the military actually comes in and starts pushing in to try to save this town. Well, the people in the store are still in the store, and all the heinous things that they've done by murdering that soldier, by just the insanity, they're going to find out when the soldiers come to that store and rescue them and get them out of there. They're going to find out that, no, you know what? They are just aliens, just coming from another planet through a portal, and that's it. Those people are going to have to deal with everything that they've done there, right? And so it's a really good teaching tool. It's a good movie to watch, and I encourage you to go watch it twice. And with that, enjoy the rest of the time you have left.
I thought that there were other dimensions. They wanted to try and make a window.
Well, maybe your window turned out to be a door.
Who she's gonna sacrifice to make it all better?
We want the boy.
You try it.
Kill him!